We had a homeowner give us a call regarding a yard that would flood. He had 2 years worth of pictures and videos of every time there was a decent rain, what his yard would look like. We seen it under light rain conditions. We seen it under heavy rain conditions. The yard was graded with a crown. It just shed to all the property lines, the far back and both sides. We're going to run an inline catch basin system along with a perforated pipe French drain system. We're going to collect up all this water. I'm going to answer all the common questions that I get in the comment section. People want to know, how do I design my system? You want to run it through the lowest points. Where do you collect water first? That would be the low points. When those low points fill up, the water actually climbs and starts to flood higher elevations. You can see how this whole backyard is flooded. Once it fills up in the far back, if you don't gravity drain it somewhere or pump it somewhere, pending if you need a sump pump system, it will continue to climb to higher elevations. You can see the side property line, how it floods here, and then across the back. As it swells, it actually floods higher ground. The only water that goes uphill is flood water. With this much surface water, we're going to have 2 solid 4-inch pipes on inline catch basins. We're going to use our 4-way connect catch basin so we can run 2 solid pipes. We're going to take in all this water through 6-inch grates to minimize the amount of excavation. We don't want to have to go ridiculously deep and crazy wide. We're going to use 2 4-inch discharge lines opposed to a 6-inch line. To the untrained eye, people would think they have to run French drain pipes and yard drain pipes throughout this entire backyard because the whole thing floods. But that's just not the case. You just have to run the system in the lowest points. When you're collecting up the water and you're keeping up with the storm, the water's never going to make it to higher ground. It's a waste of the homeowner's money to run drain tile through this entire property. We're going to do it for a fraction of the cost. We're going to grab up all the water that lies along the fence line, the back property line, and we're going to gravity drain it. You're going to want to watch this entire video. There's just too many details. I cover a lot of material. If you skip around and jump around, you're going to have a lot of questions. All those questions are answered in this video. I give up a lot of trade secrets throughout this entire video. If you find any of this information helpful, give us a thumbs up. It supports the channel.
All right, we got a tree stump here, and the guys are working it really hard on the discharge line. This yard floods really bad. It floods right down the side lot here, floods across the back, floods down here. Now I want to teach you guys a technique. The drainage contractors that do this full time already know this, but the homeowners, just like the drain in a bathtub, will literally drain the whole tub from one side to the next. Even though the water lays in here, that's because there's so much flood water, the water rises out of this lower point. Put your drain in the lowest point, and then as the water is collected, it'll prevent it from flooding other areas. A lot of people don't realize that. They end up saying, well, how do I design my system? My yard floods all over. You find the lower point. This is the lower point in this yard. Over here, that's not as low, but as in the video that I showed you in the beginning of this video, they had water standing in here. Water would actually flood in here. This is higher. This is lower. So catch the water in your lowest points, and you'll prevent it from back feeding up into higher ground. How do you design your system? Easy. You just run it in the deepest, lowest point, wherever the water is the deepest. Guys did a beautiful job. So this is going to serve for the DIYers as a great video. The solid blue pipe, the royal blue, the dark blue, that's our solid pipes. We got 2 of them. There's so much flood water here that the guys are using our 4-way connect. We're using our 4-way connect with 2 solid pipes. We're catching a lot of surface water here. We're going to be moving a lot of water. Then our French drain, we got our heavy duty 8 slot. That's not our extra heavy duty. That's our heavy duty 8 slot. It works a lot better for the men to use that in cold weather. We're not driving over it. Man, I have so many good things to say about that pipe, and you guys will learn a lot more about that pipe going on into 2025, but we're always working on new pipes. We're always working on new technologies. We're always working on new parts. So this is deep. This is really deep. You know, at first glance, you're thinking, okay, there's only 1 8 slot, 1 solid. No, that's not the case. We got 2 8 slot, 2 solid. We're just deep, extremely deep. Look at that, solid pipe, 8 slot, 8 slot, quad pack. Right here by this big tree, the guys went ahead and put a copper sock on the 8 slot. Now I got some mixed opinions on this, and I've done a lot of research. This stuff's more effective when it comes in contact with the soil and it leaches into the soil. It'll push the roots away. So we did this as kind of a low budget, you know, root barrier because we have this big tree right here. But to line the whole trench is ideal. It just comes at a price. And if we copper line this whole trench, and we do, and we have, it's like another, you know, $1,000. So just showing you guys some ideas, food for thought. I'm going to talk about the yard drain system, explain it. Boy, the guys did a really nice job here. Guys are breaking for lunch. It's going to give me an opportunity to talk where I don't have to scream over equipment. So look at this. You notice how the extra heavy duty stays coiled? The men love this elastic cold weather pipe. Now, if you're in the South, you don't, you know, necessarily need to have this elastic that, you know, it stays really elastic in cold weather. But I'm here to tell you, when you unroll it, look at that. It don't coil. When you unroll it, it stays unrolled. It's beautiful. It's a nice material, and we're just absolutely thrilled about putting this in our lineup. And oh yeah, the inlet on our heavy duty, look at that. Unbelievable. Really nice pipe. We're going to grab all the water that lies in this yard. This yard fills up with water. When water collects in a low point, and then you still have water running off, look at the size yards. Look at how big these yards are. Beautiful neighborhood. Really nice yards. You find the perfect yard for your family. Nice house, good school districts, low crime. Big deal. So you put in a yard drain. Small price to pay. It's a lot cheaper than a roof, and it's a lot cheaper than windows, I can tell you that. All right, so the men have this catch basin. See how they start it? They cap it off. Right now we got solid covers on everything because we're going to be dumping stone in. And when you dump stone, it's a pain in the neck trying to keep the stone from falling in the catch basin. So once we put all the stone in, it's then going to get this turf restrictor plate with this 6-inch. Look at that. That's ridiculous. That's our full throttle 6-inch grate. It's insane. So we're going to flow so much water on 2 4-inch pipes. It's an easy trench to dig. This trench isn't that wide. This is a 9-inch bucket on an excavator. And guys, you have to remember, the breakout of clay and dirt is going to be bigger than 9 inches. So, you know, you have the outside diameter of a 4-inch pipe is 4.5 inches. Outside diameter of a corrugated pipe. So we have 2 pipes here, essentially side by side. You're looking at 9 inches. You got room for stone on both sides. So the 9-inch bucket is perfect for our quad pack. We like to go 16 plus inches deep with the quad pack. It allows us to put some small stone on top to lock all the piping together. Really nice job. So this here is the same cap that goes here. Basically, you guys know our end caps. They're virgin like our pipes. Really nice. And then the guys just cut the barb off for a clean look. My guys are just, you know, attention to detail. You don't have to do that. I'm just pointing it out. A lot of things the guys like doing, just a cleaner install. You know, just take pride in your work if you're a contractor. Customers are going to notice. They're going to recommend you to their friends, to their neighbors. Next spring, this is going to perform so well. Who knows how many jobs we get in this neighborhood. A lot of big yards. There's no infrastructure in the backyards, so all the water has to be drained to the front yard. We're lucky enough to have enough fall and a storm drain out front. Look at this. So we got one catch basin. See how shallow that was? Didn't have a riser. See how this has a riser? Let's go back to this over here. No riser. So as the trench gets deeper, you need risers to bring your inline catch basins to grade. This is a beautiful system. I got to compliment Aaron, who designed it, did a great job. He ran this appointment, talked to the homeowners, came up with a strategy. Him and I go over everything, and I supported it. And I just couldn't be happier with what the guys have done. So here's our third catch basin in a row. Notice it has two risers now. You can see the rings. Now, no screws, no glue, no tape, no nothing. You just slip the riser on. See, it has this lip right here so that the stone and aggregate hold it in place. These female couplers, my guys absolutely love these female. Look at this. That barb holds better than the male. Some options on the four-way connect. This video is featuring the four-way connect. Here's the four-way connect with no fittings, no couplers to connect it to pipe. It'll take 3-inch and 4-inch. I'm going to show you what the guys like. Guys like right here. Female, 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 female. This is what we're running. We keep you guys updated. We're doing a high volume of installs, and the guys get extremely efficient. Turf plate, 6-inch grate or solid cover, depending on how you use it, and then you press it in. It's a press fit. Unbelievable connection, guys. Unbelievable connection. Again, this is a quad pack all the way through. Guys did a really nice job. 2 8-slot, 2 solid. Right here's that copper netting. We're just trying to discourage that tree. There's all kinds of things that you can do. They all involve copper. And we'll talk about all those things more in the future. So look at this. 1, 2, 3 risers, because we got deeper. Go to this next catch basin. We're still able to do 3. We're still able to do 3. This is a long, long run. Over here, I could already see it. The guys are at 4. Now they're at 4 risers. They're on lunch right now, but they're working through a bunch of tree roots. There was a big tree right here that was taken down. And man, we're just coming across a lot of wood. And the guy's been chopping with an axe, working on this for a little bit. Whatever we got to do to get through it, we'll drain this water out to the front. This is 100% pure copper. This gentleman's going to plant a bunch of arborvitaes for privacy back here, and arborvitaes have a bad root system. So we're going to protect it by adding some copper. We're going to put sand on top of the fabric to help with the infiltration rate. So the French drain will actually be drawing in surface water too, not just the inlet basins. The guys come back here with a lot of sandbags. They've learned, they know every so many feet, place a sandbag. That way when we get the stone in, we pull the fabric over the stone. If you work efficient, and this crew is extremely efficient, you can get a drain system in from A to Z in half the time. And that's what these guys do. That's what they show us in each and every video. All these videos that I'm documenting are their work. If you follow what they do, if you really study the details to what they do, they're going to save you money. They're going to save you back-breaking labor if you're a DIYer and a young contractor with a small business, small crew. I want to make the install as easy on my guys as I possibly can. Every day they're out battling water problems. Every day they're out putting in hundreds and hundreds of feet of pipe. I want everything to go together quick, easy, simple, fast, very efficient. This is an all virgin, high density polyethylene system. All the parts right here, high density polyethylene. Even our catch basins, high density polyethylene. The virgin pipes, high density polyethylene. You hear me say all the time, HDPE. That's what I'm talking about, high density polyethylene. Virgin, no recycled materials. The recycled materials, the problems we've had with the recycled materials is the chemicals that they have to put in the recycled materials for it to adhere. The animals like it and they chew on it, and you end up with a system where animals are digging it up and they're chewing holes in it. This virgin pipe is rated to last 200 to 500 years. You can't beat it, and animals are not digging it up.
This is a 100% pure copper sock. We slip this copper sock on our pipe all the time. You want it to come in contact with the soil. So in this French drain, yard drain combination, we're going to cut the sock and we're going to take our fabric pins and we're going to pin it up against the soil, the sidewall of the French drain, yard drain, to push the roots away. Metal copper takes time to leach into the soil and become effective.
The longer it's in, the better it works. It'll work better 2 years from now than it will today. Today it ain't going to do you nothing because it hasn't been in for any length of time to leach what it needs to leach into the soil to stop and turn those roots around. So you want to have soil contact with it for best results. Guys are doing a great job of installing that copper. Now the homeowner is going to put arborvitae hedges here for privacy. So we're going to continue to run that copper on the inside only. We don't need it anywhere else. There's not going to be tree roots coming from this side, just that side. And I told them plant them, you know, 20 feet off of the French drain. And those things get big years down the road. They're gonna challenge this French drain, and this copper is going to keep them out. So by the time those arborvitae hedges that he's putting here are a threat, this copper is going to be working its best. It'll be in for a few years and leaching into the soil safely. This doesn't end up putting anything toxic in the waterways. If you don't like using the copper sulfate, this is a one and done thing. It might be a little bit more money up front, but it's going to go a long ways. Now this is a thin copper netting. It'll slowly break down. It's going to take probably a few decades. I think this is going to work just fine for the homeowner. I could tell him this is going to keep the roots out for his lifetime. So just pin it with the fabric pins and then put your fabric back.
Nothing works better for keeping roots out of your yard drain system than copper. If you want to put copper sulfate in the bottom of your trench for immediate results that leaches into the soil immediately, you can water it in or wait for the first rain. Then put the copper sock up against the soil.
Trade secrets. Trade secrets. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful. The men have that copper netting down the whole side of the trench. Look at that. No tree roots will ever get in that 8-slot pipe. It's all the way to the bottom of the trench.
If you have a downspout system and you're going through a bunch of trees and you don't want those tree roots to compromise your system, just slip this copper sock over it, and I promise you it's going to push all the roots away.
contractors, if you're quoting a drain and the people say, hey, we had trees removed, or if you can tell there's humped up areas where there was trees, you get pretty good at recognizing where these tree trunks once were, where these big tree stumps are now buried. You got to charge extra for this. If you miss this when you're quoting a job, guys, this is where you end up working for free. You could eat up a lot of money in the job and labor on a 6-man crew. But we've been here working through these tree roots for a while now. We always get through. We do whatever it takes. Some guys will just put an outdoor sump pump and say forget it. But we can't do that. To be honest with you guys, if we can gravity drain, we're gonna go through whatever it takes to gravity drain it. If you can get rid of electricity, which sometimes you have power outages, if you can get rid of the failure of a pump quitting, a gravity system works no matter what. Your number one goal as a business owner should be to build the most reliable drain system that you can build for your customer. If you can gravity drain it, you go through whatever it takes. Sometimes the initial install might cost a little more, but down the road you save the customer a lot of money. No failed pumps, no flooded yards and flooded garages when there's a power outage. Do it right the first time. Gravity powered system, it's going to work 365, 24/7. It's never going to let you down. These are all tree roots. These aren't branches. We didn't pick up somebody's old firewood pile. This is all the tree roots that we're digging through. Now, if you're a homeowner and you're just working by yourself, you got limited equipment, maybe putting in a sump pump system opposed to digging through all these roots is a better option. But if you have a situation where if that sump pump quits or you don't have electricity, your house floods or your garage floods, your property is damaged, you might want to work at getting through all those tree roots. We're putting copper sock over every connection point on our discharge line. We're going by a big shade tree in the front yard, and we know the roots can go up to 50 feet with these shade trees. Now, I'm very confident with our external coupler and tile tape, but this is overkill. We like overkill. We're going to put the copper sock over top of the tile tape once we make the external coupler connection and tape it really well. I can tell the homeowner with 100% certainty that the tree roots will never make it into his discharge line. By putting this copper sock over every connection point, as the years go by and this copper leaches into the subsoil, it works better and better. The tile tape's going to do a fantastic job, and I have all the confidence in the world. But you know us at French Drain, man. We like overkill. Man, we're so deep that the 5-foot fabric won't even pull together for you, huh?
Yeah, I got close.
Stretching it?
We had 4 4-inch pipes in the bottom of this trench, and we had about a foot of stone on top of that. We're really deep here.
The men left room for sand. If you put sand on the fabric, you're going to have greater permeability for grabbing surface water. A lot of people want their French drain to take in surface water as well as subsurface water. Cal's gone ahead, applying a generous layer of sand. We don't want the non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched to plug. This yard has a lot of flooding, so the surface water is a bigger issue. Now, once you take care of the surface water, of course, his attention is going to be drawn to the subsurface conditions, meaning if the yard is soft and spongy. So that's why we built the yard drain French drain combination. Be generous with the sand. Make sure you coat all that fabric. A lot of yards, when you cut the turf grass off, it's clay backed. It's grown in some sort of clay, depending on what part of the country you're in. Whether you got the red clay, the blue clay. We don't have to worry about what this sod was growing in. We can put it right back over top of the sand, and we're not going to lose permeability. Now, the roots are going to root through all the tiny holes. That's why you don't want a heavy overlap on the fabric, because then the roots can't get through all the holes. Now, there's a bunch of little holes in this fabric. It was double punched. Look at all those little holes. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, the grass roots will grow through the sand without any problem, and they'll grow through those little holes. Now you're taking in water through capillary action as well with the roots. Once the grass is established, has rooted in again, this system will work better in 2 years than it does today. Our systems work better and better every year. They work great from day one, but I'm just making a point. Most guys, their systems get compromised every year because of how they installed them. And the guys are finally making their way around this tree stump. Man, they really earned it, I gotta be honest. And I gotta tell you the truth, nobody complained. These guys, they earn their wage. These guys are not going to shy away from hard work. They never do. We're going to go to a solid discharge line, so we got to keep the dirt. Remember that. If you're going to a solid discharge line, don't haul away your dirt. You can haul away a little bit of it. Get rid of the stuff that has the roots in it and keep the clean dirt. Beautiful. Another quality job. All right, you guys with those bigger excavators, I get guys in the comments saying, why don't you use the U27, or, you know, there's many different sizes. Ours is a U17, it's been replaced. Now they don't make the U17, they have a version of it, a different number. But look at this, look at this. That is insane. So these tracks go in, and when he needs stability, they go out. He's working in, Francisco's working in tight quarters, so he's got these tracks all the way in. Beautiful little excavator. That's why we have that. We got actually a couple of those. And trust me, we had bigger ones, and it was just tearing up everything. You're hitting the eaves of houses when you're doing downspouts. All of it's bad, you know. So that small machine, you want to work surgically when you're doing yard drains and you're in residential yards. So here's a great cutaway. Boy, I love this. You got your 2 solid yard drains on our 4-way connect catch basin. You got your stone, it's fully wrapped. You got your sand. Now the grass, the guys, they work so smart. They cut the sod with a sod cutter, then they cut it like in 18-inch pieces so that it's super easy to handle. They lay it up against the fence so that they're not driving over top of it. Then that way you just make more work for yourself. Because now, if it was over here, you'd be driving on top of it, kneeling on it. Now the sod is all smashed down, and it's just so much harder. You make your job harder. So work smarter. Look at these guys. Beautiful. Really nice. Remember to always buy some solid covers for when you're filling in your yard drain, French drain. You don't dump stone in them. It's just a pain. It's frustrating. It's just aggravating. And then afterwards, make sure you have a turf restrictor too, because I'm getting a lot of people in the comments saying, you know, they didn't like their catch basins because the worms would fall in, and then when they go to clean them out, the rancid smell on your skin, if you didn't use gloves, it's so rancid. You could take a shower and the next day you can still smell that rancid smell. Something about dead earthworms, there's nothing like it. So this turf restrictor, it prevents the grass from growing over the 6-inch grate and covering it, because if that happened and then you had a flood, it wouldn't take in the bulk water. And it also prevents the earthworms from falling in. Now, if you don't use the turf restrictor, I've learned that when the worms come up, when there's a lot of water, the worms got to come up. If the grass was right to here, and the worms just come up, they fall in the catch basin. Nothing smells more rancid than dead earthworms. I speak from experience, unfortunately. All right, look at this. Guys are rocking and rolling. They'll have all the stone in. They'll have the fabric pinned back, sand on top. Sod's going to go down on top of that. Beautiful assembly line. 6-man crew. Well rehearsed, well orchestrated. I can't brag enough on this crew. I can't oversell this crew. I can't. People see the videos, we come to their house, we put it in, they see exactly what they saw in the videos happening in their yard. So business owners, give your guys the bags for like soccer balls and stuff. My guys are organized. I give them different color bags too, so they can put different couplers. Man, they just love these female couplers. I'm letting you guys know that. My guys are using them exclusively. They just love that coupler. It really is an industry-changing coupler. It's the only one of its kind. It's the first one of its kind. There's not even anything in PVC like that. Here's our end cap. We put this on our catch basins when we cap them off. And then this is a dual purpose. We can also take this, and so stone don't fill the end of our pipe, and it's not coming out. Those barbs, that holds so good. So now the guys, they'll actually cut this off. You don't have to. See how it's dead-ended? We want a part to do more than one thing because it's in the truck. So this is our end cap for a catch basin, and it's an end cap for our drain systems. And they're pretty inexpensive. Contractors that buy our 100 packs of our parts, they're getting the biggest savings of it all. And contractors, we're going to be sending you out new lists. We're sending you out updated lists all the time. So that's what's great. When we do runs on these parts, we're going to get better prices because we're greater in numbers. So we appreciate everybody. We appreciate everyone's support. Thanks for all the comments, everybody that contributes to the channel. You guys are great, man. I read them all. I read every comment. That is me that responds. This homeowner is never going to have a water problem again. This system's built to last a lifetime, and this could be legacy property handed down to his children, and this will work. So when we have our extra heavy-duty pipe packed in stone, I love it for driving cars on. Now these two discharge lines, they're not going to be packed in stone, So we're going to use a culvert pipe. We're going to use dual wall culvert pipe. Smooth on the inside, it's corrugated on the outside. It's really strong. So we're going to run dual wall here because we know cars are going to drive off the driveway when they're backing up and going around and trying to get in and out and around people. Why do we know this? Because I lived a whole lifetime of this, and I've had to go back and fix systems that didn't work. That dual wall culvert pipe is perfect for this job right here. So we stock that in our yard for pickup. Contractors and homeowners come and pick it up all the time. So a beautiful job. All right, contractors, homeowners, if you run into this, so there's a storm drain here, but there's also a 6-inch culvert pipe in dual wall. This is 6-inch culvert pipe in dual wall. So we're going to dig down, we're going to cut that dual wall 6-inch, and we're going to use a 6-inch external to, 6-inch external. We have these welded up. They're for sale in our online store for contractors as well as homeowners. This is available. Then the 4-inch dual wall, you just use our French drain man coupler, connect it, super easy to do. All right, so when you connect this up, it's this simple. And then same thing, click, tile tape, done. We make putting together the system the easiest part of the job. It used to be the hardest part. You used to have to run to the hardware store 1,000 times, nothing fit. It was just a horrible experience, and why do I know this? Because I lived a lifetime of it. We decided to start making our own parts because of it. We're changing how yard drain systems go together and some of the techniques that are used. So we have 2 discharge lines, one for the 8 slot, one for those solid pipes on those catch basins. We're going to be taking in a lot of water. We're going to be moving a lot of water. Again, this is culvert pipe. It's really thick. You can drive over top of it. Don't have to pack it in stone, which makes me happy. These happen to be 20 footers. That way you have less connections. See, guys, work smarter, not harder. All right, everybody, if you appreciated all the knowledge I dropped in this video and shared with you, give me a thumbs up. It supports the channel. If there's any videos you want me to make, or if you have any questions regarding this video, leave them in the comment section. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.